Welcome to Violin Adventures number 188. We start off working on our 1900s violin, getting the varnish to match. Then we move on to an 1800s violin. We also look at some of the characteristics of the grand secretary. Freddie has a chat, and there's a Hebrew minute. Also, don't forget to send in your pictures or videos of a project you're working on. Hope you enjoy. Okay, here we're at the 1900s violin. We've got the top ready to now put a coat of varnish on here. So I'm going to put a sealer on just to darken this a little bit, and then we're going to try to match a coat of oil varnish to match the back. Okay, I've got a jar here, and I'm going to mix up a varnish. Hopefully that will be really close to this back. Mixture. I'm going to let that sit and mix together, and then we'll try it out on a piece of wood and see how close we are. Here's our wood samples, and I think they're matching really nicely, even with 3 different kinds of wood, cuts of wood. This is the 1900s violin, and I think we've got the color looking really good on this violin, but it's still open. I want to go ahead and put a label in, and I don't want to close up the violin until next week, just giving the varnish time to really dry so we don't mar it when we close it up. So I've got a label here, and we'll go ahead and glue that in. All right, there's the label. So we'll set this aside for next week, closing it up and setting it up. We've got 2 boxes coming here from California. So let's open them up and make sure everything looks good. We've got a good letter here. It's like really good wood on there. So I'm excited to work on this violin, get it singing again. All right, another interesting violin. Missing the end block, but we've got pieces here. So everything looks good. I'm excited to make these violins sing again. Thank you for sending them. And here we have a special viola coming here from Texas. And I'm excited to work on this as soon as I get these 2 violins done. So thank you for sending in your instruments. I really appreciate it. We're going to start off with this violin, a beautiful looking violin with beautiful wood. So I'll show you up close. And this one is probably done in the 1800s. So let's open up this violin and see what it has to tell us. And here's the scroll, which also looks lovely. Okay, here's what we have on the inside. So this looks like a very nice top plate. The grains are very nice. The bass bar is definitely too old, so we'll get it a new one, and quite small. And here's the inside of the back. You can see how a lot of the glue has come through when they closed the edges over time. And we have corner blocks here, but not up here. And we have a lower block here. There is a crack here in this block. It almost looks like this little dowel is the fault. So I'm going to take this block out. You can see here the block and the little dowel causing this crack here. So I'm going to clean this up and take this dowel out and get one that's not so big, and then we'll cleat this. But I just love the wood on this violin. It is so beautiful, so close together. So I'm going to leave the top and we'll just remove the bass bar and get a new voice on this violin. So I'm looking up the makers, and there were a lot of Seidel makers through the years. We've got them all the way down here. It could be that this could be a Christian Seidel. He was born in 1815, but I see that he generally used broad-grained tops and that his varnish was a yellow varnish. When you look at this, this has got more of reds in it. It's very beautiful varnish, and it is also transparent, whereas this write-up says that his varnish wasn't that transparent. So it may not be Christian. It might be one of these over here. We believe it was probably handmade by someone in the Seidel family. I will not be changing the graduations because those are the handiwork of a real maker. But we will take out these bass bars. They're meant to be changed to keep the voice. This Willie Seidel is interesting because he had good work in the styles of the old masters. And looking at this violin, he's got very nice looking sound holes and very nice looking scroll. To me would look like maybe a copy of a Guarneri. We're going to take the lower block out because it is cracked right down the middle, and we don't want that in a violin. Okay, after I got the block out, there were loose pieces of wood that had come up from the plate itself, which was very strange. So I'm gluing those back in so that we have a very flat, nice surface. And I'm going to try to get all this glue mess out of here. It just doesn't look very nice. Okay, I did some scraping of the really thick glue around the edges. It looks like somebody opened the back, took the back off, and then put so much really thick glue around there. So now I'm going to use some hot water and just see if I can loosen this up a little bit, because I don't. Okay, how's that for beautiful? Look at that wood. That is just beautiful wood. Just gorgeous, really. Okay, we got some hot glue here, and we're just going to close up. We're going to cleat the areas that are not open, but they've been glued, just to make sure everything is secure. Okay, we're in the wood room and we're on search for a wonderful piece of spruce that we can make a beautiful bass bar. And here's a piece of wood that is by itself. And the grain is very nice and close. Okay, we're going to take the clamps off of these cleats and then get a new bass bar in. All right, we have the bass bar ready to put in. Okay, there it is. We're going to let that dry for 24 hours. The Seidel violin. All right, the bass bar is shaped and finished. Well, it is time for a story from our book of anecdotes. We have the bass bar drying on our Seidel violin over there, and then we have our 1900s violin where we're matching the varnish to the back here. So I've got the top looking pretty good, and I just went over the sides because they were a little bit different color from the back. I'm trying to make everything go together, so that is drying. And I was looking at violins and violinists, and there's a chapter on Paganini and a chapter on Stradivari and on Amati, and there's a chapter on the Romantics. So if you get tired of hearing the anecdotes, just let me know in the comments and we will start on one of these chapters. They're rather long, so they'll need to be broken up in probably about 5 or 6 sessions. Okay, we're going to read number 107 in our Anecdotes of Great Musicians, published in 1897. The Ox Minuet. There is no sensible reason for the titles attached to many pieces of music, some of them even classical selections. Most generally, they are placed there as an attempt of some publisher to boom his stock and sell his goods. Then again, some peculiar titles may have their origin in incidents about as important as the following. Haydn one day received a visit from a butcher who stated that himself and his daughter were admirers of Haydn's music, and as the young lady was soon to be married, he made bold to ask that the composer write a minuet for her wedding. Kind Papa Haydn consented, and in a few days the man of meat secured his music. Not long afterward, Haydn was surprised to hear this same minuet played under his window. On looking out, he saw a band of musicians forming a ring around a large ox, tastefully decorated with flowers. Soon the butcher came up and presented the ox to Haydn, saying that for such excellent music, he thought he ought to make the composer a present of the best ox in his possession. Ever after, this little composition was called the Ox Minuet. We have one more on Haydn here. It's called Gallant Haydn, number 132. When in London, Haydn once visited the studio of that celebrated portrait painter, Sir Joshua Reynolds. He there saw a picture of Mrs. Billington, one of the best-known singers of the day. Reynolds had represented her listening to the song of the angels. On being asked for his opinion of the painting, Haydn remarked, "Yes, it is a beautiful picture. It is just like her, but there is one strange mistake." "A mistake? How is that?" exclaimed Reynolds, who could hardly believe his ears. "Why," said the gallant composer, "you have made Mrs. Billington listening to the angels when you ought to have painted the angels as listening to her." All right, that's all for today, and next week we'll have another story. Well, here's a little update on this secretary desk. And what I want to show you are some little characteristics of this desk. I have noticed a couple things. One is that the doors and the panels machine, they seem to be flattened by hand because you can see little imperfections in the surface. Also, all of the trimming is hand done. And then I thought, well, but these parts, they must have been purchased. Well, the closer I look, the more I see that this is all hand carved, which just amazed me. And if you look at this, this is also hand carved. So whoever made this really did an amazing job. These are the insides of the top of the secretary with all those nice cubby holes. And what I wanted to point out is these doors at the bottom are numbered, but instead of going left to right, they're numbered from right to left. So these bottom drawers from the cubby holes in the top section were numbered backward. So it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going over now to the secretary part. And these drawers are all numbered 1 to 13. And let's see if they go in from left to right or right to left. I put these all in and they seem to be working, but here when I get to the end, we have drawer 13, 10, there we go, and then 15 and 13 here. This one doesn't fit, and then this one. So it looks like he went from left to right. The Hebrew minute. Tov Hashem lema'oz, bayom tzara v'yidea hosei bo. The Lord is good. He has a stronghold or a place of refuge in the day of distress or trouble. And he knows those who seek refuge or who trust in him. If you know where this is found, please leave it in the comments below. Freddie wants to chat.
Hi, I'm Freddie. This is from Faye Jacobson. She's my friend, and she made scarecrows for her grandkids to put in their gardens. So here they go. That was really nice. Wow. Okay, now thank you for sending in projects for the 200th episode. And please keep sending them in because we need more and more and more. See you next time. Bye.
Well, here it is, Friday. It's time to go look in the shop. We've got a beautiful day today with a nice breeze. Let's look inside and see what's going on. This is our Seidel violin. We got the bass bar in and the cracks are cleated. Next week we'll get the lower block in and see about closing this one up. Here's our 1900s violin. The top is still open. We're waiting for the varnish to cure. Over here we have a violin and a viola that are coming up next. Thank you so much for watching, for all your comments and your thumbs up. Thank you to the new subscribers, and don't forget, send me either a picture or a video of a project you're working on. My email is in the description box below. And until next time, bye!